Welcome to the I Can Crochet That YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn how to make the Goldie Blanket. It is made with single crochets in a solid color yarn and bean stitches in a variegated yarn. All right, let's get started. So for this pattern I used Lion Brand Pound of Love in cookie butter and then Roll With Me Melange in curtain call. For today's tutorial, I am all out of curtain call because I used it all for this blanket. So we are going to use Showtime, which is another one of my favorite. Along with the two yarns, you're going to need two different size hooks. You're going to need a 6mm and a 5mm. Why the different sizes? Well, after working and experimenting with this pattern, I found out that the single crochets with the Pound of Love work better with the 6, and the bean stitches with the Roll With It work better with the 5.5. So we're going to just switch back and forth every 2 rows, so just keep them handy by you. And at first it might be a little tricky if you're not used to switching hooks between with the same project, but after a while it just becomes second nature. So 6mm and a 5.5. This pattern you will need to chain an even number of stitches. So for today's tutorial we're going to chain 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And again, we're doing that with our 6mm hook. After you chain your even number, you're going to single crochet in the second chain from your hook. So here's the first chain and here's the second chain. So we're just going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And if you're not familiar with how to do a single crochet, you insert your hook into the chain, you yarn over, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do that one more time. Find that next chain, insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 chains on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, one more time. Find the next chain, insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Just your basic single crochet. Once you get that down, you'll be ready to move on to the next beginner stitch. So you're just going to single crochet into every chain until you get to the end. And since we chained 16, you should have 15 single crochets. Move my hook over there, stay. When I first started this pattern, I thought it was going to be really simple because it's just single crochets and bean stitches, but it ended up taking me quite a while to get it just like I liked, and switching those hooks and then a couple other things I'll tell you about got it to where I really liked it. So lots of experimenting. Okay, so you've chained, or you've single crocheted in every chain, and actually I should not have finished that single crochet. So for this blanket, we're just doing 1 row of the single crochet to begin with. The rest of the times we will do 2 rows of single crochet. So since this is our last one, we need to bring in our new color, our Roll With It color. So to do that, if you're not familiar with how to change colors, you change the colors by finishing the stitch of the last stitch of the row. So this is our last chain. So you're going to insert your hook into that last chain, yarn over, bring up a loop. Now, instead of finishing it with this one, we're going to bring in this new color. So bring in that new color, put it on your hook, and you're going to finish the stitch with the new color. And then you'll just kind of tighten that up a little bit. And that's how you will change colors. So now we're going to take that hook out and we're going to switch to our 5.5 for the bean stitch row. Now for the bean stitch row, you are going to chain 2. And chain 2, the chain 2s and the chain 1s in this pattern do not count as a stitch. That's just setting up our sides for it. So chain 2 and turn. So since the chain 2 does not count as a stitch, this very first single crochet from the row below, that is our first stitch. So in the single crochet from the row below, you're going to start the bean stitch row with a single crochet. So again, insert your hook into that very first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. That's your single crochet. Now we're ready to start the bean stitches. So after the single crochet, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to skip that next stitch. We're not going to go into that next stitch, but you're going to go into the third one. So the first one we did a single crochet, then we chained 1, then we're going to skip that stitch and do a bean stitch into that third one. So the bean stitch, you insert your hook under both loops of that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Now you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. One more time, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you should have 6 loops on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on your hook. And that is the bean stitch. And then you're going to chain 1 to close the bean stitch. So since we chain 1, we're going to skip that next stitch and look for the next single crochet from the row below and do another bean stitch. So again, the bean stitch is insert your hook into the stitch under both of those loops. You see it's kind of like a V. You're going to insert your hook under both of those, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook. One more time, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on your hook. And then yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on your hook. And then chain 1 to close it. Skip the next one, bean stitch in the next one. Again, insert hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, do it again, pull up a loop, one more time, yarn over, do it again, pull up a loop, 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 6 loops on your hook. And chain 1 to close. And so that is the bean stitch. Isn't that pretty? That's what it looks like on the back. Just continue doing the bean stitches until we have 2 stitches left of our row. So again, we chained 1 to close, skip that one, find the next one, and do your bean stitch. Chain 1, skip, bean stitch in the next one. It's so fun to watch this yarn change color. This has definitely become one of my favorites. Skip a stitch, find that next one, and do a bean stitch. Chain 1 to close. So now we are left with 2 stitches of the row. So we're going to skip that next stitch and we're going to do a single crochet in the last stitch. So find that last stitch and just do a single crochet. And that is your first bean stitch row. Now we're going to do another bean stitch row. So keeping with the 5.5 millimeter hook, you're going to chain 2 and turn. That's what the bean stitches look like on the back. So the chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so find that first stitch, which is a single crochet from the row below, and you're going to do a single crochet into that stitch. So single crochet, chain 1, and now the space, is the chain 1 from the bean stitch row below. We're going to skip that chain 1 and we're going to find the bean stitch and you're going to insert your hook into that bean stitch from the row below. So we're not going to go into any of the chain ones from the bean stitch row. You're going to go directly into that bean stitch. I'll show you what I mean. So again, skipping the chain one, find the bean stitch and do a bean stitch into the bean stitch row from the row below. So insert your hook into the bean stitch right there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert it again, pull up a loop, yarn over one more time, pull up a loop, and you'll have 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 6, and chain 1 to complete it. So that's a bean stitch on top of a bean stitch. So skip the chain 1 space, look for the next bean stitch, and do a bean stitch in that one. Six loops on your hook, pull through all 6, chain 1 to close. Skip that next chain 1, find the next bean stitch, and do another bean stitch. So you're going to do bean stitches in every bean stitch across until you get to the chain 1 space and the single crochet from the row below. So those of you that, if you're not familiar with my Finley blanket pattern, take a look at that. You'll find it on our website. Those of you who are familiar with the Finley blanket pattern, you know that we did the bean stitches just a little bit differently. We completed the bean stitches into that chain 1 space from the row below. So this one is just slightly different than that. And if you're wanting to look for another beginner friendly crochet blanket, the Finley blanket, I highly recommend it. It uses a solid color yarn, but people have made it with all kinds of different colors, but that's a good one to start with. Okay, we're coming to our last bean stitch. Do a bean stitch in that one, chain 1 to close, and now we have the chain 1 space and the single crochet from the row below. So we're just going to do a single crochet into that single crochet from the row below, but now we need to switch colors. So we did not fasten off, I forgot to tell you to not fasten off that Pound of Love yarn because we're going to bring it up the sides. So we're not fastening off in between the rows, we're bringing the yarn up the side. So find that single crochet on the end, insert your hook into the single crochet, yarn over, bring up a loop with the roll with it, and now we need to complete the stitch with the Pound of Love so that we can bring up that new color. So just grab that new color. You're just going to leave this roll with it just hanging out here, and then bring up that new color and finish that single crochet. And now we're going to switch back to the 6mm hook. So I'll show that again in the next row. So now chain 1 with the new color and turn. And as you can see, we are just bringing the colors up the sides, and then we're going to cover those yarn ups with a really simple single crochet border. So this chain 1 again does not count as a stitch, so look for that single crochet from the row below, and you're going to do a single crochet into that first stitch, that single crochet from the row below. So do a single crochet, and then we're going to do a single crochet in that chain 1 space from the row below. Single crochet in that chain 1 space, then find the bean stitch. You're going to single crochet in the bean stitch. So what we're doing along this entire row is single crocheting in the bean stitches and single crocheting in the chain 1 spaces. So bean stitch, chain 1 space, single crochet in the bean stitch, and single crochet in the chain 1 space. And just do that all the way across. And again, if if you need to, count your stitches. Since we started with 16 chains, we should have 15 single crochets. So we'll count those after we're done. So now we're coming to the last chain one space and the single crochet from the row below. So you're just continuing to do single crochet in both of those, the chain one space and the single crochet. All right, let's count and make sure that we have 15 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So 15. Now we're ready to do another single crochet row, continuing with our 6mm hook and our pound of love yarn. So chain one at the end and turn. It's starting to take shape. Let's do another single crochet row. Chain one does not count as a stitch, so do a single crochet into that first one, and you're just going to do a single crochet all the way across in all 15 single crochets. And if you're wondering about these hooks that I've been using, the ergonomic hooks, they've become my favorite. I've been using these and some ergonomic hooks from Furls. I'll be sure and link those in the in the description. And we're coming to the last single crochet. And now we're ready to switch back to the roll with it yarn that's just been hanging out back there. So to change colors, again, we're going to finish off the last single crochet by bringing in that new color. So insert your hook into the single crochet, the last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop with the pound of love. You have 2 loops on your hook. Now just drop the pound of love and bring up the roll with it up along the side. Now one thing is you don't want to pull it too tight when you're bringing it up, and you also don't want it to be loose like this. So you will have to kind of practice a little bit with your tension if you're not used to changing colors, but just do it to where it just kind of feels right. And then you can kind of turn it over and you can see if it's not too tight or if it's not a big gaping, it's not gaping a lot. So now we're ready to switch back to the 5.5mm, and remember, for the bean stitch row we chain 2. So chain 2 with the new color and turn. And you can see, let me move this, you can see how we're just bringing the colors when we're switching up along the edges. Now we're ready for another bean stitch row. So we begin the bean stitch row with the single crochet into the first stitch. So find that first stitch and complete a single crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, find the next one and do a bean stitch. Chain 1 to close. Skip, bean stitch in the next one, chain 1 to close. See, my yarn's getting tangled up a little bit here. Skip, bean stitch in the next one. And you're just going to do bean stitches all the way across until you get to the last 2 stitches. I did not get bored making this blanket at all because of the fun color changes. It's just fun. I can kind of get bored sometimes with solid color blankets, which is one reason why I work with self-striping and variegated yarn so much. So we've come to the end. We have 2 stitches left. We chained 1 to close our bean stitch, skip that one, and then single crochet into the last one. And that is another bean stitch row. Let's do one more bean stitch row together. So chain 2 and turn. Single crochet in the first one, first stitch, skip that chain one space, then bean stitch in the bean stitch from the row below. So single crochet in that first stitch, chain one, skip, find the bean stitch, and do a bean stitch. You chain one to close, skip the chain one, find the bean stitch, and do a bean stitch in that one. So again, we're just doing bean stitches, chaining one to close it out, skipping the chain one spaces, and bean stitching in the bean stitch from the row below. And that is pretty much it. So you learn single crochet, you learn the bean stitch, you learn how to change the colors, and you're good to go. Now we've come to the last chain one space and the last single crochet. Now we're ready to bring up the pound of love. So do your single crochet, and we're going to complete it with the pound of love. So bring up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, drop the roll with it, and bring in the pound of love to finish the single crochet. And you will notice you'll have to give the yarn a little bit of a tug to kind of tighten it up. Let's switch back to the 6mm hook, chain one, and turn. Let's do one more row of single crochets together, me talking you along through it, and then I will do a few more rows because I want to show you how to do the border, but I won't talk. We'll just work on it together and with no instruction. Okay, we chained one, find that single crochet from the row below, and do a single crochet in that. Then find the chain one space right next to it, single crochet in that. Then single crochet in the bean stitch, single crochet in the chain one space. Single crocheting in the bean stitches and the chain one spaces all the way across till you get to the end. So we're at the last chain one space and the single crochet. So single crochet in the chain one space and single crochet in the last stitch. Then chain one and turn. Now that I'm doing the swatch with the other colorway of the roll with it, it makes me want to make a whole nother blanket in this colorway. So now we're going to do one more single crochet row with the pound of love. So again, just single crochet into that first stitch and single crochet into every stitch across. Since we chained 16, you should have 15 single crochets. And now we're at the last one. So again, before you complete the stitch, let go of the pound of love and bring in the roll with the yarn to complete the single crochet. And switch hooks. Okay, let's do 2 more rows of bean stitch together, and then I will show you how we finish it out and how we do the border. So this blanket pattern ends on, it started with 1 row of single crochet and it ends with 1 row of single crochet. And I did that because we're going to be doing another row of single crochet all the way around. So I wanted this to kind of match with the 2 rows. So for this one, we're going to, for the last row, we're just going to fasten off the roll with it. And we're going to bring it back in later for round 2 of the border, but for right now we can just fasten that off and then do a row of single crochet as the last row of the blanket. Okay, so at this point you can go ahead and weave in the loose ends, or you can do it after you finish the border. It's really up to you. So for the border, we are going to continue with the pound of love. You're going to chain 1, and remember we fastened off the roll with it. So chain 1, and turn it to the side, and you're going to do a single crochet border all the way around. So for this first row, you're going to find the single crochet from that final row, and you're going to do 2 single crochet into that side stitch. So find the single crochet from that last row, and you're going to do 2 single crochet into that one. So 2 single crochet in the same stitch, and then just single crochet evenly all the way down. So each row is 2. So this is 2 bean stitch rows, 2 single crochets. So you're going to do a single crochet in every row. So we're at the bean stitch rows. We'll do a single crochet in that bean stitch and a single crochet in that bean stitch. Now we're at the single crochet rows. So do a single crochet in that side and in the other one. So the color changes makes it really easy to see where you need to put your hook for your border. And again, you're just evenly single crocheting into every row along the side. Okay, now we're at the single crochet row that we started with. You're going to do 2 single crochet into that last row. So we begin every row with 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the last stitch. That gives it a nice rounded corner. So 2 single crochets into that one. Now turn it. Now this is our foundation chain that we started with. And so we're going to find the first stitch of this, the first chain of this row, and we're going to do 2 single crochets into that one. So 1, 2, and let me show you how it kind of just gives it. So you have 4 single crochets in the corners, and it just gives it a really nice little rounded edge. So we did 2 single crochets into that first chain, and now evenly single crochet all the way down. So you're just single crocheting in each chain of the foundation chain. Okay, this is actually our last chain of the foundation, so we're going to do 2 single crochets into that last one. So 1 and 2, and then turn it to the side. And this is the side where we have all of our yarn ups that we need to cover up with our single crochet border. So again, find that first edge stitch of that single crochet row, and do 2 single crochets into that. And now you can see the yarn up that's going on the side of that bean stitch row. So you're going to want to place your hook underneath the yarn up so that you're covering it up with your single crochet. So here's the bean stitch row. So I'm inserting my hook underneath that yarn up and doing a single crochet. Then find the next one, again inserting it underneath and doing a single crochet. And you can't even tell that the yarn up is there. Find that next space, and again underneath the yarn up and do a single crochet. And just like we did on this side, single crocheting into every single row, but this side you just have to make sure that you're catching those yarn ups and covering them up. So you're just going to single crochet into every row, and as you can see, it's covering those up quite nicely. Now we're at the last row of the swatch, and we're going to do, the last edge of the swatch, do 2 single crochet in the corner, turn it, and now this is the row that we ended with. This was our last single crochet row. So you're going to single crochet into every single crochet from that last row. Again, find the first one, and we're going to do 2 single crochet in the first one so we get that nice rounded edge like the other ones, and then single crochet into every stitch. Now we're at the last single crochet of that row, and we're going to do 2 single crochets into that last one, and then find the first single crochet that you started with. So this is the chain 1, this is the first single crochet. So you're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet from the round. So a slip stitch is put your hook underneath both of those both the loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you're going to pull through the loop on your hook, and that's a slip stitch. So now we want to bring in, we're going to do another round with the roll with it. So bring that in, and we are going to switch hooks again, switch to the 5.5 when you bring in the roll with it yarn. So tighten that up a little bit. And you're going to chain 1 and find that first single crochet. So now for this row and the next row of Pound of Love, we're going to find the corner stitch. So like that's the corner stitch, that's the corner, this is the corner, and we're going to do 3 single crochets in the corner stitch. Instead of doing 2 and then 2, we're going to do 3 into the corner. So find that single crochet, that first one that we just slip stitched into, and do 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then single crochet evenly all the way down, and then find a corner stitch. So do a single crochet in each stitch. So 1, 2, and 3, and then single crochet evenly in each chain there, in each stitch. And let me show you how it looks with the 3 in the corner. Again, gives you that nice rounded edge. Now if you want to make it a little bit fancier, you don't have to do just a single crochet border. What I would do is go ahead and do a single crochet border with the Pound of Love to give it a good base for whatever border you decide to do, but you could do a peacock border, you could do a ribbed border, you could do a bobble border. But I really, for this one, I decided to just do a simple border and let the bean stitches of the blanket shine. Okay, at that corner, do 3 single crochets in the corner, and single crochets evenly all the way down. There are a bunch of colorways with this roll with it, and they all just look so pretty. So can't wait to see what colorways people end up going with. All right, we're at that corner, 3 single crochets. Pull my yarn here, and single crochets along here, and then we're going to join it to the slip stitch to that first single crochet from the beginning of the round. So I think I mentioned that I have an ear warmer with this colorway. I also have a blanket scarf. It's a Tunisian crochet blanket scarf that I made with, again, a solid color yarn and this same colorway that I will be releasing soon after this one. It's a big old blanket scarf and I am in love with it. Okay, we're at our last single crochet. Now find that first one. This is the chain 1, so the next one is the first single crochet of the round. Join it with a slip stitch. And now we can fasten off the roll with it. That's your chain 1. Find that first stitch of the corner and do 3, oh, we need to switch hooks. Don't forget to switch back to the 6. So again, 3 single crochets in the corner, 1, 2, and 3. And it's just the same exact thing. You're just going to single crochet all the way around, doing 3 in the corner. So I'm going to finish this off camera, and then meet me back here and we'll finish up. All right, I single crocheted all the way around, and now we've come to the last one, single crocheted, and now we will join with a slip stitch. Remember, that is the chain 1. That's your first single crochet. So join with a slip stitch. Fasten off. Weave in all your ends, and you have a beautiful new blanket. I really like how that turned out, where the colors kind of peeking out from the border. So that's our swatch, and this is the Goldie Blanket with the curtain call colorway. So I hope you enjoy making this as much as I enjoyed designing it. And we have videos every week, so be sure and subscribe and hit the bell so that you will be notified whenever there's a new video, a new pattern. And again, I hope you enjoyed learning this pattern, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.